Hello, day 149. We're about to hit 150. Um, Today was chill, I guess. Yesterday, which is Tuesday, I just hooped and I didn't do much. Yeah. uh, yeah. Today was a off day today. I didn't go to my lecture. But we did make a start on our product. Um, I found it. I have validated it, and I'm sort of coming to terms now and understanding that your product that you are trying to market is not even 50%, even 40% maybe of the pie chart in terms of, the work you do. I'm realizing now that it's almost 80% your marketing, your creative strategies, and yeah, the way you're advertising. Dropshipping is basically, now that I realized it, a creatives game, a strategy of advertising, and yeah, that is the aim of the game. By far the hardest part. So yeah, makes sense. It was never about uh, complicated converting product pages or any of that shit. I guess I've been focusing my attention too much on the wrong thing. But yeah, I found a decent product. I'm tapping into supplements now. Although people say it's a very competitive niche, very expensive niche, so you are going to be expecting high CPMs. From trying to compete with all the advertisers around you. I still have some sort of belief in this product. I picked it. I think I've gotten great at being able to spot good products in my eyes, not just from their, at first it was kind of from a statistical standpoint where I would just be analyzing products based off their genuine metrics on their charts. If they were seeing a crazy trend, if they were doing great revenue, gross revenue, and things like that. And if obviously I'm still looking out for those things, but they're not the main priority or main determining factor into in terms of if I'm choosing this product. Mainly now, it's actually just from me trying to decipher whether I see like a vision for this product. If I see, or I can can kind of envision a potential, just yeah, if I can envision potential within this product in terms of the way I advertise it and how I approach it. And so yeah, that is sort of becoming an increasing factor into the way I look at products, and that's great. So yeah, that was done. I'm also having great, I feel like right now I I'm confident in my ability to be able to produce things faster. I think I can pump out. I'm not gonna set any more deadlines, no nothing. I'm it's not really like trying to keep myself away from holding myself accountable, but I feel like it's unhealthy for me if I'm setting, almost unrealistic deadlines, because if I try to set one, I probably quintuple fold it. So but what I'm saying is I feel confident that I'll be able to produce this one faster, because um although, you know it feels like I'm not getting any closer to that first sale. It's really helping me clean up a bunch of the messes that previously I'm messing up on, and kind of working my way up to not perfecting, but almost getting to a good range in where I'm standing. In terms of the skills that I've tried to develop and kind of brushed off in the past, I'm slowly starting to have those reappear, and I'm kind of polishing them up now. So now it's kind of in the direction where I'm starting to get the priorities sorted out in terms of now what is actually important and what isn't. I feel like when I first started, if you look back in the older videos, back in like days 1 through 60, no, 1 through 30 maybe. I was always very cautious about the way I approach things, and I was always very, aware of the steps I was taking moving forward, just because I wanted to make more educated guesses, more less risky mistakes. But I guess that did work out for me in the way, now in doing so, I'm able to determine what's right from wrong. Uh, and I know now what needs to be done, in what order, and in what, kind of animosity. Like, what I need to do and focus on harder, and what needs to be focused on less, and what I need to push further, and what I need to, chill out on. And I think I've gotten a pretty good understanding of that. Um, and so now I can divert less time or more time. I can divert my time towards things that really more important in the long run if I want to run, something successful. And I see now, you know, it's a big realization, that yeah, this community's fucked. The ecom community. I wouldn't say they're a bunch of liars, but if I were to say one word, I'd say it's very gatekeeping. People, I don't even know how to approach this, but like, as I've learned, the people who really make it are very self-sufficient. They understand the game better than anyone else. And what they don't do is they do not rely on prompts, large-scale mega prompts that can determine an entire market bias, just from 13 minutes of cold research, or finding out untapped desires and angles, and then essentially getting Claude to write your entire copy. They are not relying on these mega prompts to run successful stores, because if it was truly that easy, everybody would be doing that. Um, and so that's not really my problem here. It's the way that all these big creators, they are just not, you know they're all, just advertising that the way to, find out and learn more is to just use these prompts and, you know basically, burn through all your money, and realize that it doesn't work. And I think in the midst of that, try to, you know get you to buy their course. um I didn't know it was that, like that, to be honest. But then again, I never really took time to look at the higher ups and look at what the best of the best are really doing. And what I know now is that they understand the game from their own personal, level, on such a deeper level, that they are doing so much manual research that it is almost incomprehensible to me. I thought this whole time, people who really make it up, they're, scaling it up, their lives get easier. Um, like, not just because they're making so much money, but I thought, they've developed good systems, developed good routines to be able to get things automated, which still think is inherently true. But um, like, for example, people running native image ads, scaling 100K plus months, they are definitely taking and putting in the time to do physical manual research to determine mass desires in the market, finding untapped angles, creating out entire market macro avatar profiles, and just studying their avatars. And that is genuinely from pure manual research, scouring through forums and Reddit posts. And that is something that, you know, that is required, and something that AI can never replicate down to that T. Um, just because, Claude will never understand that genuine human connection. They can't decipher from real emotion, and they're just logical machines. Um, and so, it takes a human to know a human. Uh, so yeah, what I'm saying is, from my point on going forward, uh, I'm going to be looking much deeper into my avatars. I will still be using Claude to just get some of the basic work done, like uh, writing some subtext and all that. Maybe even trying to find desires. That is something more surface level that AIs can just automate, because it kind of just takes the tedious task of it. It's kind of like a very uh, zoned out subconscious task that you just kind of go through and look. That is something automated that can be automated that AI can take control of, because in the end, it doesn't really require any human intuition. But something that goes deeper into that, such as finding the desires and forming macro avatar profiles, that is something that is a little more emotionally, you know, uh, grounded. Something that needs that perspective to be able to really tap into. So that is where I play in, um, and yeah, um, this is just my plan for my next product. So it's just good that I know that now, because to be honest, the past few hours, the last 48 hours, I was really skeptical on how I could really proceed forward. Because I thought at this point, I thought I've reached my limit, like that I've done all I've could, or not that necessarily, but that I've understood and tried to implement all I could. And I thought that, maybe this is it. And I'm just simply not good enough. I just need to keep getting better. I didn't like that. I didn't like that I've come to a standstill or an obstacle or basically like a brick wall, dead end. And I thought that, yeah, this was it. But knowing now that there's still much more to learn, still much more to implement. And this is all before, scaling. I haven't even reached that scaling stage yet where you're implementing different testing offers, testing advertorials, testing different pages, and angle testing and all that. I haven't even reached that, finding VAs, private suppliers, exiting. I'm nowhere near that. But one step at a time, just approach it as it comes, accept for what it is. Um, and yeah, so I have high hopes for the direction of my store. Um, yeah, it's not that there isn't a lot of work to do. It's that I've, I think I clearly understand what I need to do now, which is great because there'd be times when I'm developing a product ready for testing that I would kind of just get stuck. Like, what do I do now? And that would kind of put me in a bit of a burnout stage where it's like my mind's in kind of like an autopilot mode where I'm not fully thinking enough to be able to have that self realization like, oh, wait, I need to get back on track. I'm kind of in a Goldilocks zone of comfort where, I know I need to do something more. But then again, my mind doesn't want to be pushed enough to be able to think about what to do. I'm kind of just on autopilot. But when you're able to understand the process from such a deep standpoint, you can bring that level of thought to the Goldilocks zone so that you can literally be productive on autopilot. I don't know if that makes sense at all. It makes complete sense in my head. But yeah, that's about it for today. Day 149. Yeah, you got a lot of work to do, but the path is looking clear. So that is truly all I could ever ask for. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.